When it rains, it pours. Knocking
And when
out
it
your
pours, it
door.
rains. Oh, sorry. I thought I was supposed to sing the opposite. Hello there. Hello there, guest. Answers by guest. Hello, hello, hello. All right, all
Sit,
right, all right.
sit, sit.
Such a week, man. I don't know. I'm
Yeah.
going to get your insight on it, but it was not a good week for me. Well, I lied. It was a decent week for me in my less important leagues, if
Yeah.
I guess the best way to phrase it. So
Yeah. Um, it was all right.
it was all right.
Like, most important league, got lucky somehow because DK did nothing. Thought for sure I was going to lose that. I was up by 8. Guy had DK. Herm survived. But the ABG League, man.
That was a tough one, man.
The ABG League lost by 0.54, something like 4.8, something along those lines. So many things could have went our way. Um, it is what it is, you know. We've had no luck in that league, but that's okay. You know, I'm happy, and we will keep playing. It's pretty much impossible for us to make the playoffs now, but we'll be rooting the entire time, and we'll still continue to play in the consolation tourney. If we don't give up, we'll win that, and we'll outscore everyone because Antonio Gibson's coming on. He had like 40 touches last night. Pretty
He
ridiculous.
did. I think he was. Yeah, he was. He should have had like 50 points last night. I mean, don't get me wrong, he did well, but I
Yeah.
guess just not well enough for us.
Yeah.
And why is
Yeah.
Jared Patterson touching the ball twice on 4th down? Does that
I
make
don't
sense?
know. Yeah,
Gibson
when
was
you
running
need.
all over them, running
I
all
know.
over him.
I know. Because we had Gibson and we needed a half a point. That's why. We need 6 yards. We needed 6 yards.
All right, I'm going to go over Spencer real quick because he has to go to bed. Drop Lance for Breida.
If you need an RV, yeah.
I would
I
do the
know.
same.
I know you're in a super flex, um, but unless it's dynasty, I don't see a reason to have Lance at this point. I mean,
Jimmy G looks healthy, man.
yeah. I mean, I could see if they get eliminated, you know, championship week, Lance gets to play, but he didn't even really look great when he got a starting position for a game or two or whatever it was. So, yeah, if you need a running back, you got to win now. You got to win now, and Lance is not helping you win now, so you might as well.
Agreed. All right, let's go with like us, follow us, Facebook, subscribe on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, and Patreon. Bye weeks are Carolina Panthers, Cleveland Browns, Green Bay Packers, and the Tennessee Titans.
Real quick, forthcoming because we toot our own horn, but we don't hide under rocks either. I think I had my worst 2 calls ever in 5 years in the same game. I thought Cam would do pretty well. I don't know why I thought that because I hate Cam and I thought that Waddle would be limited. Other than those two, though, you go back and you watch the Saturday show, and it's pretty good calls. OBJ, you liked Van. It was really just 2 plays out of both of them, but that's all that matters.
Van was so close for a second one too,
I
man.
know, he was. So we had some good calls, but the worst 2 ever in history. So for those people that we said to sit Waddle, that I said, I won't even put the blame on you. I'm sorry. I put that
We're a
post up
team, man.
immediately. I benched him in 1 league. I benched him for Pittman. Sunday morning, I did that because I started to have that feeling. And I ended up losing by 5. And Waddle outscored Pittman by like 20. So that hurt. So it hurt me too. And believe me, nobody's more pissed off than me. I don't like to, we do this to try and help. And anybody that we hurt, it bothers me. I'm more angry if you lost because of that terrible advice than I am. So just know that I'm sorry.
It's very kind of you guys. We're all a team. We're all a family here, man. everybody, I'm sure, appreciates all the kind wisdom you've been given for the last 5 seasons and the amount of wins they actually do get. So having a bad call here and there, but Waddle looked good, man. He is. I don't think he's. I mean, defense proof. I mean, he literally can go against anybody, and you can pretty much start him now. I mean, that's what it looks like.
Well, to be fair, I said he has a much higher ceiling.
You did.
I just said that he's got a really low floor as well. I said the safer play, I think it was Boyd. I don't remember.
Lockett. So Lockett still was pretty good. Now you call. Oh, I think you said Boyd and Lockett. Maybe that was it.
So, I don't think Boyd did much. I can't recall anything of note.
A couple catches. Yeah, I don't think he did very much.
So, but it is what it is. Moving on, upward and onward. Hopefully, you're not eliminated like the Answers by Guess team and the Answers by Guess league. We're not eliminated.
It happens.
But we pretty much are.
We need miracles beyond miracles to be able to make it, I think, from the math that I was doing. All right. So some very interesting games over the weekend. Obviously, some big injuries. Cook out now. CMC now gone for the year. I mean, that's your top 4 running backs out. So, I mean, the waiver wire is going to be hot. Let's talk about some waivers that you think we need to talk about. Do you want to talk about any of the games on Sunday or Monday night's game?
I mean, one thing in particular. Let me ask you this question, because this is kind of the way that we roll, right? For 4+ seasons, I feel like a lot of people out there, the pros, people who get paid for this, and the average Joes, which, for what it's worth, we are the average Joe as well, you and I. But, we view things sort of on the surface. Like, if I were to ask you, Rob, and anybody who's watching can answer this as well, how do you think Heineke played last
night? I started him in leagues thinking he was going to do better than what he did. He did help me win, but he was going based on game tempo. I don't think he did too much, but he did enough to win the game.
Okay. That's a fair assessment. That's pretty much what it was. But if you watch the broadcast and you listen to the broadcasters, he sliced bread. Right? And I like him, and I know you do.
You love Heineke.
How do you think Russell Wilson did last
night? He struggled for a good majority of the game. In my opinion, it was his offensive line that didn't give him the help that he needed, though. He was constantly scrambling. He wasn't being able to push the ball the way he wanted to. When he did have time, he was hitting people. I mean, look at that. He tied the game because he had time. Or not tied the game. Got close to tying the game.
Well, you listen to radio, you watch ESPN, NFL Network. You listen to the game last night, Russell Wilson played terrible. Go ahead and look at their stats, the two of them. Russell Wilson played better than Heineke. And on the surface, you would never imagine that. It wasn't just the touchdowns. It was the rushing yards. It was the passing yards. It was the completion percentage. He was better. Russell Wilson, I think, finished in the top 10 in scoring for the week for quarterbacks. But you wouldn't know that. There's so many people out there that are like, oh my God, I got to bench Russ. What's he doing? He's terrible. But maybe I should pick up Heineke. Russell Wilson outscored Heineke. Played better than Heineke. And that was before that last touchdown as well. I mean, the last touchdown put him over the top with yards. But
he was actually in the top 15 in our league in scoring.
Yeah, so it's like on the surface, you watch the game, you listen to the broadcasters, you listen to the outside noise, everybody's down on Russ. Everybody's getting a little high on Heineke. 3 wins in a row. But Russell Wilson outplayed Heineke, and you wouldn't know that unless you really paid attention to the stats. It's like we expect Russell Wilson to do more, I guess. Maybe that's what it is. But
I agree with you. I think the expectation is comparing the two is kind of tough because Heineke is like, this is a good game for him. He beat Russell Wilson. He was able to play against the Seattle defense, which, again, he didn't have a very great game. Gibson running the ball, I think, was what moved that offense. But you expect Russell Wilson to put up 400 yards and 5 touchdowns with, 3 long bombs to DK, Swain, and Lockett. I think people's expectations are what the broadcasters are looking for, the sportscasters and all your pros.
Yeah. And the flip side of it is, you like to say, Rob, is you don't want to pay also too much attention to the stats. The stats can lie sometimes. So what I'm saying to you is, don't just go with the consensus. Don't just go with the flow. Look at the stats. Watch the games. If you can't watch the games, watch at least the replays. And just do some extra homework on the side as well. I mean, because, I'm not to call him out, and I'm not doing it negatively, but like Darko was like, oh, Hilliard, Hilliard had one play. He wasn't doing anything before that, didn't do anything after that. Did the one play. So, like, if you're going to run out and be like, I got to grab Hilliard, Foreman's the man there. I mean, for what it's worth. But Hilliard had the one huge play, and his stats look really good. But if you watch the game and you pay attention to the game, he hardly was being used in comparison to Foreman. I don't like Foreman too much either, but like I'm just saying, you gotta look at both. You gotta look at both. So don't be throwing people to the curb because they're probably actually doing a little bit better than you thought. I think the problem with Seattle's the coaching. I think Pete Carroll's got to go.
Agreed.
But that's another story, another day.
As far as the Hilliard, it's funny. I actually had a conversation with somebody, the same exact concept. They looked at the stats and like, look at the numbers that he put up. I'm like, he was getting crushed. He fumbled the ball. He had one huge play. Donta Foreman finished the game.
Yeah.
But, there really wasn't too much more. But again, people play fantasy for the stats.
Right.
Where we try to go on the ebbs and flows. That's what makes us the inside scoop from outside the box. So, all right, let's talk about some other waivers. Who would you be targeting on some of your list if you're looking for a running back because you lost a CMC, you lost a Cook for a couple weeks?
The CMC thing, I mean, if you're in a fab league and Chuba got dumped, people are going to be picking up Chuba. I kind of like our boy Amir Abdullah a little bit better. I think Abdullah is going to be the pass-catching back. I think it's going to be the two of them together. I think since Abdullah has been playing with them, and I mean, Cam Newton can't throw the ball. And we knew that. So why did I like him? No clue. Slap myself for that one. He loves to check down. Abdullah is going to be getting those checkdowns. Abdullah is going to be getting them. And I honestly think he's going to cost a lot less. And I honestly think that he might not even be picked up while everybody fights over Chuba. I would go after Abdullah. I mean, you can't get Madison, so throw that out the window. If he's out there, then obviously get him. I don't know. I mean, all the names that we could throw out there. I mean, I think you could throw our boy Ernest away because with a bye, with both their starters back, I mean, he's useless at this point. So he's somebody you could dump to pick somebody up. There's a lot of wide receivers popping up out of nowhere. Juwan Jennings, I kind of liked him as a rookie a couple of years ago and never got any burn, and now he's surfacing with 49ers. And now that Debo's out, he's somebody I'd be looking at. He's somebody I'd be looking at because he's getting burned with Debo in there for the past few weeks. And he's young, a couple of years in the league. This is his second year, I think. He was a rookie last year. I'm trying to picture his Prism rookie auto, which I have. It was like a $2 card. Probably will max out at a $4 card, but in fantasy, he could help you for these next couple of weeks while Debo's out. The guesstimator last week was in the game, I want to say 5 snaps. His first snap was late. Very first snap, got a catch. And he played a few more snaps after that, didn't get any. I don't know why they don't use him more. They like to run the ball, pound the ball. It is what it is. I mean, it's Foster Monroe. I mean, he's probably like the Alexander Madison of tight ends at this point. With Waller being out, Moreau was getting a little bit of burn and showing some stuff without Waller, or with Waller there. Without Waller, I would not be surprised if he plays really, really well this week on a Tuesday night. Carr likes his tight ends, so I think Foster Moreau is probably a sneaky tight end pickup if you need a tight end this week.
Somebody I know I'm looking at, I mean, the Vikings don't have the greatest defense, but on the Lions side of things is Josh Reynolds. You saw him right away. He had the connection with Goff. He got the touchdown. He didn't do too much afterwards, but with Swift out, he's going to be needed for moving the ball down the field. Swift was that dump off guy. I think Josh Reynolds can kind of fit that. And what about your running back situation? Is it going to be Jefferson or your boy
Agumbawale?
It
should be Agumbawale. I think it'll be Jamal Williams first and foremost, but Agumbawale should get more burn. Every time he gets, he shoots through like a rocket. I want to mention before I forget about it, he surfaced this week for the Jags. Laquan Treadwell. He must have had a ton of targets. I keep seeing his targets. I keep seeing his name pop up. I mean, he's a top 10 pick for the Vikings a few years ago. Maybe it was like 2015 or 16. Bounced around a few teams. I bet Atlanta wishes they still had him. They didn't even give him a shot. He was on their team this offseason. They cut him. He resurfaced with Jacksonville. He got a bunch of catches. What was his stat line there?
8 targets, 4 receptions for 53 yards.
I mean, that's good.
8 targets is good, man.
That's good in your first game. And you got Trevor Lawrence throwing the ball. That's the reason you have a 50% catch rate, because he's not very good, not very accurate. But
watching that game, man, there was some throws, especially in the red zone, that I'm just looking at him like, what? I mean, he had Chanel a couple times going across the back. He had Marvin Jones cutting across the middle, and he just looks nervous to throw it because he's scared to throw a pick in the red zone.
He's never faced adversity. He's never faced it. He doesn't know how. Yeah, I mean, one catch out of Chenault probably would have gave us that win. One more catch.
Anything from Goddard would have gave us the win.
We got 0.5 out of Goddard. Jalen Hurts a little banged up. So we'll see what happens with that. Could be Minshew mania in Philly.
Oh my God, that would be crazy.
And Taysom Hill, I see the question right there at the top. We might as well go right into the questions, but it looks like he's probably going to be the starter. So you got to use Taysom Hill. He's probably out there on waivers. You can scoop him. And I don't know who they're playing. We don't even know if Murray's playing. Without looking, I'm just going to say Tua and Taysom.
Cardinals are playing the Bears. Bears are home, and Tua is playing the Giants. Dolphins are home.
Yeah, Tua and Taysom. Giants been playing good against quarterbacks though, but they had their Super Bowl last week. They played really well. Tua's on a roll. I'm going to go Tua and Taysom, unless I get word that because they don't even know if Murray's going to start. They don't even know if he's going to play at this point. It's Tuesday, and they don't even know. They said maybe. I mean, you just had a bye. Come on. Hopkins, the same exact thing. So you got to go Tua and Taysom.
All right. Frank I'm excited for Burrow versus Herbert. I think that's going to be a good one too, man. I can see it being a higher scoring game. Definitely.
Of course, yeah, because that could be something 10 years from now we're still watching.
I hope so. All right, Antonio with the question, Pollard or Jamal Williams, or any suggestions for a runner?
You know what? This is so annoying because you got Jerry Jones that says that Zeke's going to have a huge workload. Well, God, I've been waiting.
Jerry Jones.
I've been waiting for him to have a huge workload all season. 2 days ago, you said you were going to shut him down. I feel like this is gamesmanship at its worst. He's just like, watch out for Zeke, and he won't even play. But you're going against the Saints. They got a tough run defense. Williams going against Minnesota, you could run on them. I'm going to go with Jamal.
I agree. I think Jamal might be the better choice here. Pollard is getting burned, even with Zeke on the field. I think you're right. Jerry Jones is blowing smoke, but it's a Thursday night game against a fairly good defense where a division game, Williams is going to be touching the ball a lot more. I mean, you can see how he was getting burned when Swift was out. I think Jamal Williams makes sense. I could see him getting like 20 carries, man. Easy.
Yep.
All right. Antonio with another one here. Lamar or Cousins? Again, Cousins playing the Lions. Lamar is playing the Steelers. Steelers are home.
I'm going to go with Cousins. He's throwing the ball around pretty good right now. And you get him throwing the ball around, he's going to check down to Jamal quite a bit. He's got two great receivers and a third in Osborne. He likes his boy Conklin. I mean, Lamar looked good. He's getting over he looked terrible the other night, is what I meant. He didn't look good. But he's getting over that illness, right? He had the diarrhea butt, whatever it was. So I think he does bounce back, but it's a tough game, and the Steelers need this win. Their defense is reeling, but they played Lamar before. Not to say Detroit hasn't played Cousins, but they got a couple tricks there. I'm going to go with Cousins, I think. It's very close. This is Tuesday.
I would say ask again on Sunday. I agree with that. Steelers are coming off of a huge loss. I don't think the defense is going to allow that again, and I think they're really going to put pressure on Lamar. We know he can step up. I mean, obviously. Right. Cousins against Detroit makes me a little bit more worried just because Detroit's defense actually has been playing pretty well. So, again, Sunday question. Cousins, I would go 55-45 right now, but
right.
Definitely something to look at. Is it safe to play Dallas against New Orleans on Thursday, or Pats? It's Monday Night Football against the Bills.
I really don't like either one, but if I had to choose one, I'd play the Patriots against the Bills.
If Eagles are out there, they're playing the Jets this week. That may be somebody to look at.
Yeah.
I don't know who else would kind of be sitting out there. Washington may be a possibility, playing the Raiders, since they played well against Seattle. Raiders kind of play that same kind of offense.
Minnesota
against the Lions. Yep. That would be probably the ones I would go. And you maybe Dolphins, taking a risk there if they're out there. All right. This one's a little bit of a long one here. This is kind of relating to the question that we had answered earlier. This has some more choices, though. So got a ton. I'm sorry. Is Trey Lance a hold anymore? I don't see him getting a chance to play, and I lost a ton of players this week, so I have to try to get Breida or running back, or any possible suggestions on a player like Deshaun Jackson, Eno Benjamin, Jefferson, Tim Patrick, MVS. I'm going to actually bring up his team on my screen. He had given us some pictures, so let me take that away. Let's bring this up. This is his starting lineup. So Tua, Pittman, Mooney, Thielen, Swift, Harris, Gesicki, Henderson, Ty Johnson.
Well, you need a running back. You need a couple running backs. You're in trouble because Henderson is banged up, might not even play. Sony Michel could be an ad this week for those of you that need a running back. Ty Johnson got benched. Didn't get benched, but Mitchell
damn near close.
Got the burn over him, which is super ridiculous. But before we go crazy and run out and grab Mitchell, you might want to just maybe not waste a waiver or waste any fab. And if he's there, you scoop him and you wait and see. I don't know. I'm not buying it. He looked good.
Walter, you mean, from the Jets?
Walters. Yep, Walters.
Yeah.
Sorry, my bad. Yeah, Walters. Walters got the burn over him.
This is the rest of his bench here. Logan Thomas, DJ Dallas, Allen Robinson.
You need running backs, bro. You need running backs. If Allen Robinson plays, you can put him in the flex, but you need at least one running back. Who's down even further? No IR guys.
Yeah, and then just Denver defense he has.
Yeah, man. Yeah, dude. You got to get rid of Lance. You have no use for him at this point because you got to swap somebody into your flex.
I'm even thinking about Westbrook, Akeen here. He could probably be dropped since especially he's on his bye week. Maybe to pick him back up again.
I didn't see him. He's under the waivers banner, maybe, or something.
Yeah.
Cam, there he is.
Yeah. Obviously, it's a super flex, so you keep all your.
Yeah.
You have 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I mean, you have play. I think Lance is extendable because you also have Murray and you have Tua as well.
You know what? I mean, I would get rid of Westbrook, Akina, and I would get a running back. And I guess there's no reason to have Lance, but since it's a super flex, I'm dropping one player that has absolutely zero use for me, and that's Westbrook, Akina. Like, there's no reason to have him. When you need a running back, get rid of him, get a running back. Hope Allen Robinson comes back. Put him in the flex. Right? He's got Allen Robinson on his bench.
He's on IR, so we would have to probably drop also Lance if A-Rob does come back to put him in the flex.
Yeah, because you can't put DJ Dallas in the running back spot. Yeah, so you got to get Breida. We'll see. Breida hardly gets any snaps, but he gets a touchdown. 3 touchdowns, 3 games, I believe.
Also, pay attention if anybody's out, like if DeAndre doesn't play or Henderson doesn't play, just put them in your IR, and then you can move Allen Robinson.
Yes, do that. Hopefully you're still watching, Spencer, and you got all that.
He had mentioned on the bottom that he was going to bed, but he will be watching in the morning, so he's going to be getting some good info.
Okay.
All right. Let's see. We already answered that. All right. So, Jeremy, my league really disappoints me. I need to win the last 3. Hope with a specific guy loses at the last 3 and outscore him by 150. I'm just about to give up in that league. But ABG, I'm still in it. Never give up, man. Never
give up. We're out of it. We ain't giving up. Real quick, it sucks.
We're out of it.
I realized that we told him real quick before he went to bed to drop Lance for Breida. Somebody call Spencer and be like, yo, wake up. Don't drop Lance. Drop Westbrook, Akina. Save Lance, just in case.
Do you want me to send him a message?
Yeah, shoot him a message.
All right, so I'll give you the next thing here. Oh, Spencer, love you guys. Good night, homies. I'll watch the rest tomorrow.
Wake up! Get up!
Uncle Theopolis!
Uncle Theopolis! Go get your hearing aid. Put a cup to the phone. Do any of you know that movie, Class Act? Rob and I were talking about it before the show. That's one of the most underrated movies. It's absolutely hilarious. Class Act. If you haven't seen it, do whatever you have to do. Fire up your stick and watch it. Class Act. Classic.
Work that body. All right, so who would you offer for Justin Jefferson? He needs a running back. Who could I trade? Melvin Gordon, Lockett, Higgins, Renfro, Montgomery, Bateman, Javonte Williams, Sterling Shepard, Corey Davis.
Well, if he needs a running back, you only listed 3 running backs. And I don't want to get rid of any of them. I don't know who your starters are. I'm going to imagine they're pretty good. I would personally get rid of Melvin, but if anything happened to Javonte, Melvin's gold. If anything happens to Melvin, Javonte's gold. They're stuck in that 50-50 annoying split. Can't really get rid of Montgomery. It's too valuable. But if you're getting Justin Jefferson, and your running backs are really good, and he needs a running back, maybe you could just give him both Broncos and erase your headache and take Justin Jefferson and maybe something else from him. But you got a ton of wide receivers there. So if you get Justin Jefferson, like, you don't need all these guys. Like, Sterling Shepard and Corey Davis are just about worthless. Lockett's boomer bust. Bateman is underperforming. Higgins, nah. Renfro is Cooper Kupp on Wish. I don't know. I mean, I guess you can give him Montgomery and give him Montgomery and Shepard and Davis. So you can take 3 for 1. Clear up some of that mess there.
I would honestly ask who he's dropping, because maybe he's thinking of dropping somebody that, you know what, maybe you can use on your team, or you can look at their schedule and see, does it make sense for me to have that player?
Yeah, see if you take Montgomery. If he doesn't want Montgomery, see if he... I mean, because you got to get rid of some of these wide receivers. You're going to have Jefferson. You got all these guys. Are these your starters as well, Alan? I doubt it. Your teams are usually pretty solid. But he wants running back. He got
Mooney,
3 of them
Jamar
there.
Chase, Elijah. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought he was answering of who he had. My bad.
I don't know. I mean, he needs a running back, so you have 3 choices. And if he doesn't want Montgomery by himself, then you probably have to just give him both Broncos and eat it. I mean, you're getting Justin Jefferson.
After the game that Higgins had, I think Melvin Gordon and Higgins would be probably my choice for Justin Jefferson, because then at least it gives you Javonte, knowing that he's getting half the touches, he's getting more burn. Montgomery is the number 1 over there, and Higgins, Renfro, and Bateman can kind of be the same player. And then I'm dropping probably either one of Sterling Shepard and Corey Davis and looking at your waiver to fill in gaps.
Yeah, Melvin Gordon and Higgins is absolutely bottom barrel. If he took that, run.
Yeah, I would go for 100%.
I'm trying to be fair to everyone.
I go for the jugular and then try to be fair and move backwards from there.
Yeah, I get yelled at when I do that type of stuff.
Or maybe Gordon, Lockett, and
Gordon Higgins.
Gordon Higgins and Corey Davis, especially if you have to drop somebody.
There you go. Give them all free.
All right. Yep, Pittman, DK, Gesicki, and kind of Monty lost it for me. Yeah, DK he's a product of what Wilson is. Again, the stat line looked good, but you can see that his aim is off. He's not looking for him. DK should be your biggest target, man. I mean, he is your biggest target, literally. How do you not take advantage of that?
Mm-hmm.
Best streaming QB with A-Rod being on a bye. I don't want to rely on Wilson.
Taysom Hill.
What did you say? Taysom Hill.
Yeah.
Shocked me on that one.
He's going to be the starter. It's a Thursday game at Dallas. He's a running back at quarterback who can throw the ball for touchdowns. And if they get close, he's running it in himself. And he's running everyone over. And he's making them eat his ass.
Jeez.
That's what he does. We watched it last year. The cheat code at tight end, right? I mean,
ridiculous.
Why get cute? I don't know what's on the waiver wire, but Taysom Hill is out there, and he's going to be the starter, and he's a running back that plays quarterback, and he can throw the ball, and he'll run the ball, and there's nobody that can throw and run on the waiver wire. I don't know. I just know he's out there. I mean, you don't want to rely on Wilson. Why not? Wilson was a top 10 quarterback last week. He's got a pretty good matchup, doesn't he? Jets? Is that right?
No, Eagles are
Giants?
they're playing the Niners this week.
Niners. Their defense coming on. Taysom Hill. I don't know what's out there, but that's who I'd go with because he's on everybody's waiver wire. And
Heineke would be somebody else to look at. I know he didn't have the greatest of games, but going against the Raiders, even Teddy Bridgewater going against the Chiefs. I mean, that's a Sunday night game. Prime time. They're going to have to throw the ball to keep up with him. Chiefs are home, so that's kind of a little iffy, but
I tell you why I don't like Bridgewater. Chiefs defense is coming on. Beginning of the season, they were playing against mobile quarterbacks, and their defense looked terrible. Now they've been playing against pocket quarterbacks that don't run that often, and their defense has been coming on. Teddy Bridgewater runs a little. He's not really good at running. You know what I mean? So I feel like they could shut him down, but he's got a ton of weapons, so it's not a terrible call. I don't know. I just feel like you're going to get 8 to 10 on the ground out of Taysom. Minimum 8 to 10 through the air. You're at 20 points. What more can you ask for out of a quarterback?
Yeah, especially as a fill-in. All right. Rams D, Ravens D, or Vikings D for 1 week streamer with Browns on bye. Rams are playing the Jags. Ravens playing the Steelers. Vikings playing the Lions.
I'm going to do the Rams. I like James Robinson, but Lawrence looks lost, and these Rams have got to be pissed off 3 weeks in a row. they've lost. They're going to take it out on him. I'm going to go the Rams.
All right, Alan, with thoughts on Matt Breida.
He's doing what Matt Breida does, and typically Matt Breida then gets hurt. The one thing Matt Breida hasn't really done is busted a really long one. But he's scoring touchdowns. I mean, he's averaging a touchdown a game since he's been playing. And you know what? Zach Moss is back. He was a healthy scratch last week. I'm not going to be surprised if he's active this week, and it's a 3 running back split going against the Patriots to try and take a little bit of the edge off. But he's worth grabbing for depth. And if you're absolutely in need, like Spencer was, yeah, you grab him. I mean, there's not much else out there. Except maybe Amir Abdullah, but he's on a bye, so.
All right. Are we at the point of considering Pollard over Zeke, stuck with subpar Monty and J-Rob?
J-Rob's not subpar. Monty didn't have a good week. He's not subpar. I don't know. I still feel like if I own Pollard and Zeke, I'm starting Zeke. Pollard has looked better, without a doubt. Pollard gets the ball, and it seems like it's like who is it? Moses parted the Red Sea. It seems like that's what happens. He just shoots right through. Zeke just like is a magnet to people's backsides. You're just like boom, boom, stuff right to him.
I call that Velcro.
Yeah, Velcro. But when they get close, it's always Zeke. It's always Zeke. You get down the 1, Zeke, punch it in. 2-point conversion, Zeke, get it. So I think Pollard has looked better, but I'd still be using Zeke over Pollard, I think.
All right. If Murray is out, play Taysom, Tyrod, Bridgewater, Mac Jones. Tyrod's going against the Colts. We already talked about Bridgewater. Mac Jones is Monday at the Bills.
You know my answer.
Mr. Taysom Hill. All right. Would Michelle be better play than Coleman? I feel either way, Darko is going to destroy me this week.
You got to get positive thoughts going, Jeremy. You got to speak it into existence. Would Michelle be a better play than Coleman? As it sits right now, with Henderson not out yet, no, Michelle is not. But would he be if Henderson is out? Yes, because the Jets are now a 3-headed monster because of Walters.
Walters looked pretty good, man.
He did.
Well, whatever happened to what's his name from Pirine?
They don't like him. Him and Anthony McFarlane are sailing on a canoe somewhere to Loser Town.
All right, Scary Terry, McLaurin, sorry, Mooney, Jamar Chase, Elijah Moore, Gallup. Start 3 on a Tuesday.
On a Tuesday, this is tough.
So Washington against the Raiders. Raiders are home. Chase is playing the Chargers. Bengals are home. Elijah Moore is playing the Eagles. Jets are home. I'm sorry, where's Mooney? Mooney is playing the Cardinals. Bears are home. And Gallup is Thursday night. Saints are home.
I think right now I just go McLaurin, Mooney, and Chase. Moore and Gallup are they could easily swap in for 1 or 2 of those guys. But I think I'm just going to go with the easy wide receiver 1 on each of their teams. McLaurin, Mooney, and Chase.
I agree. Especially CD's coming back too, so that takes away a little bit from Gallup.
And who knows, Cooper, right? Cooper practiced in full.
Yeah, so. He should be coming back too. All right, Zerline or Folk? Zerline has a better matchup against the Saints, but Folk has been automatic and putting up a lot of points. I'm a Folk believer, man. Yeah, I'm a Folk believer.
Question.
And remember, White is now on IR, so that changes that defense a little bit, especially the way obviously he's a secondary, so the play action could be big for them to get close. They may not be able to punch it in, so that can lead to more Folk points.
Could be a lot of field goals in that game. It's like the top two kickers, Bass and Folk.
Sounds old school.
It is.
Starters: Kyler, Mixon, Montgomery, Kelsey, Renfro, Higgins, Lockett are my starters. Javonte Williams, Gordon on my bench at the moment. So that relates to his question from before.
All right, yeah, I would do what Rob said. I mean, I would do Gordon, Higgins, and
Corey Davis or one of those guys.
Yeah, and if he doesn't like it, be like, I'll give you Corey Davis also. Or I'll give you Sterling Shepard. And he'll be like, Sterling Shepard's injured every day of the week. And you'll be like, okay, what do you want then? And see what he comes back with.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not opposed. I mean, Mixon and Montgomery should be good the rest of the way. Obviously, you got to worry about injury. I do like your idea now, knowing who his starters are, of getting rid of Javonte and Gordon and just getting rid of Denver's backfield for Justin Jefferson and see if you would go for that. That also frees up a bench spot for you to go pick up somebody else, maybe like a Chuba or a Madison if they're sitting out there.
The only issue with that, though, now that I'm looking and I see that Montgomery's a starter, so if he gets rid of them, he has no bench running backs, and we can't have that.
I think we had one more, if I was not mistaken.
You got Mixon, Montgomery, Williams, and Gordon.
No, you're right. Yeah, Mixon was the one that was missing for the equation.
You can't give both. You can't give two running backs at this point. You can't.
All right.
I'm not sure what he was laughing out loud to.
Yeah,
it was good.
I think you had talked about the starters, if I'm not mistaken.
Right. We answered that.
We did answer that. Wentz and 2 are my best other waiver options. I could just rely on Russ because I need to claim a D2.
Rely on Russ then.
Sorry. No, not yeah. From my side, I'm just watching the Knicks play the Nets, and it's just frustrating.
Listen, to the eyes, watching it, Russ didn't look good. But the stats say he actually wasn't that bad.
Top 15 player.
It was bad coaching, bad play calling. They had terrible play calls in the past game. You target DK Metcalf. I know they were bracketing him and double teaming him, but you need to run him into space, the middle of the field, crossing route, get him free. They never did that until the late in the third quarter. He didn't catch a ball until a minute left in the game. They'll fix that if they're any shred of a good offensive mind, which Seattle typically is pretty decent. I would ride Russ if I were you, Jeremy. I like Taysom. Tua and Wentz, both fine options. But I would ride Russ, I think. Going against the Niners, tough matchup. He knows them. They know him. That team, coming off the losses they're coming off, they need a win. And I would ride Russ because you need defense. So I think that's just the smarter move for you.
All right, sorry, I had this up for a little bit. I didn't realize we were still talking about the other one. Only 12 points from J-Rob and only 10 points from Monty this week. Remember, I need to win and outscore this guy by 150.
Well, that was last week. J-Rob's got a tough matchup.
Against the Rams, yeah.
I
mean, Monty's playing the Cardinals, which are no pushover either.
Right. But what was we got to go back.
Let me see if I can go back and take a look.
I got it. He was asking Michelle. Right?
Michelle or Coleman.
I mean, if you want, grab Michelle. And if Henderson's out, then you're good. If Henderson's not out, then you got to go with J-Rob and Monty, and that's not the end of the world. At all. You'll be fine.
All right. Wentz or Kyler this week?
You have to say Wentz right now because it doesn't look like Kyler's probably even going to play.
I just don't understand. How do you come off a bye week and still questionable?
Especially when he got hurt. They're like, it's not too bad.
Yeah, exactly.
Miss any time.
Lockett, Mooney, Mike Williams, start 2.
BTW, Kyler getting hurt killed us in D-Hop. Like, that was our double BB banger. It's just...
When they played well together.
They don't want to hear us cry anymore, Rob.
We could have been undefeated. Dum, dum, dum.
Lockett, Mooney, Mike Williams, start 2. It's definitely going to go Mooney. Mike Williams has been so nothing for so long, which I don't get. Herbert doesn't look great. Cincinnati could be back and forth. I do like Russ, but I liked Lockett last week. I feel like they get DK involved this week, but it's only Tuesday. So on a Tuesday, I'm going to say Mooney and Mike.
Yeah, that's who I would probably be leaning. Lockett is just so boomer bust, and then San Francisco defense. Antonio, we're about to jump into your questions right now, but if you wait a sec. So he was trying to get to his PC. He missed the questions from before, so I'll give them to you again real quick. Nope, that's Spencer. Antonio's was Pollard or Jamal Williams. Lamar Cousins. And then Dallas or Pats.
No.
He had said neither, to look to possibly see if there's anybody else on the waiver. Maybe send us a picture of your defensive waivers that are out there. Otherwise, if you don't have anybody, I believe you said the Pats, right, for Monday night?
If I had to choose one of those two, I'd pick the Patriots. But I'd look for the waiver wire. Both of them playing against teams that are going to have good offense. Look, Dallas looks like it's a good defense this week because they're playing the Saints, but it's not Trevor Siemian. It's Taysom Hill. The offense can be better. Kamara's coming back. Ingram's coming back. Their offense can be better. Dallas has COVID all over the place.
They do.
They'll probably be better without what's his face, the old Packers coach, which I can't
Mike McCarthy.
Yeah, Mike McCarthy. I wanted to say Mike Holmgren. Mike McCarthy. They'll probably be better. But yeah, I don't like Dallas defense this week, and the Patriots just have a tough task with the Bills. They might get lucky. They'll probably get an interception, maybe even a defensive TD. But I'm looking to see if there's someone with a little bit of an easier matchup out there.
All right. So Jeremy, we were correct. So he was worried about Zeke. That's what the issue was. J-Rob and Monty are his other running backs. I have been starting all 3, and it hasn't been cutting it.
Yeah, I've been starting Zeke and J-Rob myself. And I mean, they weren't terrible last week. 2 weeks ago, I feel like they were. But the week before that, they were both really good.
Ebbs and flows.
Yeah.
J-Rob just makes me nervous with going against the Rams.
Right.
I think the Cardinals without Kyler would probably be the way I would go. If they do have Kyler, I think it's a toss-up between the two, to be honest with you.
Cardinals? What do you mean?
Between J-Rob and Monty, if Kyler does play, that makes their offense that much better.
Gotcha.
Compared to if it's Colt McCoy, where if the offense isn't moving, then there's going to be a lot more Monty opportunities.
Yeah, well, he's been going with all 3, but then he wants to use Tevin Coleman or
Sony Michel.
Right. And Sony Michel, I guess you could throw Sony Michel in, but only if Henderson's out. So you have to grab him. So put in the waiver tonight, get him. And if Darrell Henderson's not out, then you can't use him and you have to use these 3. And you just kind of cross your fingers, cross your legs, cross your heart, and hope you win.
You can't see me crossing my legs.
That's it. I mean, listen, Zeke's going against a tough rush defense. J-Rob's going against a tough rush defense. But J-Rob has a little bit of A.J. Dillon in him. If they would just use J-Rob, I mean, he's half the man that Dillon is. But he's
Godzilla.
he's power runner though. And if they would use him correctly, you can run on the Rams. And I'm not worried about Monty running on Cardinals. The Cardinals secondary to me is the problem. So I feel like they would lean on Monty. So I actually don't mind those three, but pick up Sony, because if Sony is the starter and there's no Henderson, you have to use Sony. And on Sunday, we'll worry about who you're going to play him over. So play Zeke on Thursday, no matter what. No matter what, he's the best out of them.
All right. Antonio with, I have Dallas and Pats in different leagues, but I don't trust either this week.
So find someone else in either league. Minnesota, who's somebody else we said?
Eagles.
Eagles. Both probably out there.
Colts. I don't know if they're out there, but they're playing the Texans.
Washington.
Yep.
So take a look, see if those guys are out there. You grab them.
Even the Chiefs may be out there.
Now, Antonio, I'm not dropping the Patriots. Don't you do that.
Yeah, don't do that.
Drop somebody else because they're the best. But against the Bills, I mean, they'll probably do okay. But I would rather have somebody just a little safer, just a little bit.
All right. We're just getting Jeremy's situation all confused and mixed up. Two different leagues. Coleman's situation at ABG. The 3 we just talked about is in my league. I don't know who your backups are.
Play those three. There's nothing wrong with them. There's absolutely nothing wrong with them. Play them.
And he won't drop the Pats D, so thank you.
And you know, you have to play Zeke. You're playing Zeke Thursday. You have to. He's practicing in full. The owner is saying...
Talk about the game.
Yeah, the owner is saying they're going to use him. Even if it's smoke, he's blowing. You have to. Just use him. The Saints have a tough rush defense. Yes. But they're saying they're going to use Zeke a lot. Why? Maybe Jerry Jones is getting a little angry. Maybe he's like, I just gave this dude a ton of money and you're not using him. Well, now the head coach isn't in there. So he's talking to somebody else saying, hey, you're going to coach this game? You want to keep your job next year? You better use Zeke. I mean, that's Jerry Jones. That's the type of dude he is. Paid Zeke a lot of money. He wants his money's worth. Zeke practiced in full yesterday. So the injury probably wasn't limited. You would think on a Monday it'd be a little limited. It's not. Use Zeke. Because when we talk about this game, I'm going to say, I like Zeke in this game. I like Pollard in this game. All the wide receivers are back. I think without the head coach being there, Mr. McCarthy, I think the offense will look a little bit better. I was laughing with joy, not because I don't like the Cowboys, not because I dislike Cowboys fans, but I was just laughing with joy when they signed Mike McCarthy, because I just wanted to say, have fun with that. And while their offense has looked good at times, they also run into situations like they've ran into. Now they've had COVID and they've had injuries, but Mike McCarthy doesn't help things. I think their offense getting everybody back without him, we should not be shying away from any of them. There was a question earlier about Gallup. The only time we're going to go away from Gallup is if we have better options. Like, I can't remember who it was. I want to say it was Allen. You had 3 wide receiver ones. Those 3 wide receiver ones are better than Gallup at this point. For the Saints, I've been saying it since the top of the show.
Those are the other options.
Yeah, McLaurin, Mooney, and Jamar. They're the number ones. You use them over Gallup. If you don't have anything better, like me, Tony, who knows if he's ever heard or ever used. Cortland Sutton, I don't understand what the heck's going on there. With Teddy Bridgewater, he's terrible. Drew Lock's terrible. I don't get it. They use the running backs all the time. But back to this. Taysom Hill. It's going to change everything. Kamara's back. Ingram's back. the wide receivers, you weren't using them anyways. But they're good enough, and Taysom Hill is good enough to get them the ball to get some passing stats. I like Taysom Hill in this one. I think the Saints win this game.
Hot take.
And I think the Saints win this game because of Taysom Hill. However, I think the Cowboys are better without Mike McCarthy. I don't think it hurts him without him being there. What hurts them is that it's just not him. There's a lot of coaches out. There's a lot of, like we say, ancillary guys out there and that are on Dallas. They have it, that aren't with the team, that can't play. And I think that's just enough to give the Saints the edge in this one, because I think Taysom Hill is going to make the difference. The Saints were okay with Winston. Everybody fell in love with Winston, even though he was pretty terrible. It was like the whole Cam thing, and I fell sucker to that last week. He's terrible. But you go back to last year when Drew Brees got hurt, Taysom Hill came in, this team didn't skip a beat. They were even better with Taysom Hill. Now he's there. He's the starter. He's healthy. This is going to be a game where you want Taysom Hill, and I'm saying this because mostly for DFS purposes. Because you're not most likely going to bench your starters. Not many quarterbacks out this week, but it's A-Rod specifically, right?
Yeah, Tannehill, you're using Tannehill probably, but since the team's decimated, I probably wouldn't have been using him.
Right. You probably have a pretty good quarterback there you're using, but I'm talking like DFS.
Gotcha.
If you put a Thursday night DFS lineup out there and you don't have DFS, Taysom Hill in that captain seat getting a 1.5 or the 2x on his points, I think you're doing yourself a disservice. Because if you just look at all the other everything going on, you got Zeke split with Pollard, like we talked about, like everybody knows, Kamara and Ingram, a bunch of bums at wide receiver, a bunch of bums at tight end, and then on Dallas, a bunch of good players at wide receiver, a couple good guys at tight ends. So it's like everything's going to be spread so thin where it's going to be condensed. Taysom Hill. Taysom Hill's going to get points on the ground, points in the air. I think he's a great start this week. Who knows? Maybe I'll have my second worst call of the year. But if I'm in a pinch, for whatever reason, he's who I'm grabbing this week. I got a feeling about him. He's been itching for this all season long. He's finally healthy. And Trevor Siemian has sucked so bad that they have no choice.
Release Ian Book. But I agree with you 100%. I think Taysom Hill being healthy is the main thing. Mm-hmm. He hasn't been healthy all year. So
I think the Saints get a win here. The Cowboys, I don't even know, is this 4 in a row that they will lose? Have they lost 3 in a row? I feel like they're always losing. They're still them boys.
They lost last week. They lost the week before to the Chiefs. Yep. Dallas was on a bottom. They beat the Falcons pretty bad, 43-3.
Oh yeah, I remember that. The Falcons didn't show up.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a terrible game. And they put all the backups in.
And the week before that, they lost to the Broncos. So 3 out of the last 4. All right, guys. Go over bye weeks again real quick. Carolina Panthers, Cleveland Browns, Green Bay Packers, and Tennessee Titans. As always, if you look, hashtag answers by guests, any social media networks pretty much, we will be there.
Put Jeremy's comment up there.
Oh, what did he say? Or is he getting senile? Has to be 102 if Zeke doesn't have a big game. I think it's definitely a sit-down old man for Jerry Jones. Yeah. I'm going to go 103 years old.
Here's my take on this. I think it seems like he's just like trying to like zig so that the Saints zag. That's what it seems like. But I think he's being serious, and I think what I said is true. I think he told whoever the coach in that game said, "You're going to use Zeke. We paid him a lot of money. get him going to get our team going. But that doesn't mean Zeke will be super productive, right? Just because you're getting the ball doesn't mean you're going to do something great with it. But I do like Zeke in this game. So we say if Zeke doesn't have a big game, I think Zeke's going to have a good game. I think you're looking at minimum 15 points. I don't know how your league scoring is, but if your running back gets 15 points, that's not terrible. That's like, sometimes I'm happy with double digits.
Yeah.
Like if I have players that are not double digits, not only does it look ugly, it's just like, you sucked. But if you can get double digits, so I think 15, I think he gets that pretty easily. I think you'll get at least one touchdown, a bunch of catches, and a bunch of yards. Put him at about, let's say, 85 with a touchdown and 4 receptions. Minimum.
I like it. I'm going to write that down. Hold on.
80 combined yards with a touchdown, 4 receptions. I think that's your floor for Zeke this week. I know it's never enough. You're 100% correct, Jerry. It's never enough. You know what? All my games ended last night. I don't care. I want more points out of my players last week. But that's just the way it goes, man. You take what you can get and you don't get upset. And my mom told me that a long time ago.
Words to live by. All right, guys. Remember, always like us, follow us, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, and Patreon. As always, thanks for watching. Guess, any final thoughts?
Yes, Saturday night, no show.
Oh, yes, good call. I don't know. We're going to have to discuss if it's going to be Friday or Sunday. Sunday probably makes more sense. I know Sunday mornings are tough for you as they are for me, but we may have to do an early bird special.
You're right, Jeremy. All I need 0.6. I need 0.6 to win. That's it. That's why I want my team to start scoring. It's never enough. We'll figure it out. So it'll be Friday night or it'll be Sunday morning. Hopefully Sunday morning, but we'll see. We'll keep you posted.
Oh, yes. All right, guys. Answers by guess. Best of luck if you have guys going on Thursday.
Good night.
Peace.